Welcome back to Book Break. This video is going to be all about books about dating. Dating and romance can be such a huge part of our lives. It can be wonderful and exciting. It can be really painful. Sometimes dating different people can help us figure different things out about ourselves. So I'm going to recommend a bunch of books to help you navigate the world of dating and relationships. And we're going to look at the good, bad and the ugly here and have books from various stages of where you might be in relationships. Some of these will apply to you if you are single, if you are looking for a relationship. Some of them are really useful if you're already in a relationship and want to look at ways to get that communication better or kind of get that connection to be a bit stronger. There are books on here that are relevant if you're going through a heartbreak. So we're looking at the whole journey. So starting off with one that is a few years old now, but this book has recently been getting so much buzz because it's just so interesting and relevant no matter what your current relationship status is. So that is the book Attached by Dr. Amir Levine and Rachel S.F. Heller. This book is all about attachment theory and how that can relate to your dating life and to your relationships. So simply put, we all have a different attachment style that we kind of developed as children, grew into as adults. Some people might find that they are anxious, some people might find they are avoidant. The goal is hopefully to be secure. So the book kind of takes you through and helps you identify where you might be anxiously attached, where you might be avoidantly attached, and gives you tips for how you can move into a more secure form of attachment. It also can be pretty illuminating looking at your relationship history, the kind of people that you have tended to go for in the past, and how relevant that is to your attachment style and their attachment style as well. I've had so many long conversations in pubs recently with my friends who have all been reading this book and just discovering a lot of interesting stuff about ourselves. There's also The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. That's another book that I spend a lot of time talking to my friends about. So this is all about the way that we have different ways of expressing and receiving love. So there are 5 main love languages that the book kind of breaks down. Let's see if I can remember them. Quality time, words of affirmation, physical touch, gifts, buying somebody presents, and acts of service. Those I think are the 5 main love languages, and we all show our love in different ways, and we also feel loved in different ways. So it might be that someone giving you words of affirmation, for example, doesn't actually really do much to help you feel loved, and you'd feel much more loved by having a hug from them, for example. Again, really useful in getting to know yourself. It can be useful in terms of your relationships with friends as well, just looking at how you express your appreciation for your friends. It can also be good for starting a new relationship, and it can strengthen an existing relationship. Very interesting book. Okay, the next book I want to recommend is particularly relevant for modern dating. So that is Speaking in Thumbs by Mimi Winsberg. So these days, a lot of our relationships are built through our phones, whether that's texting, whether it's starting talking to somebody on an online dating app, flirting over social media. There's a lot going on in our phones that we have to obsess over and try and interpret, and that's what this book is here to help you do. If you have ever found yourself staring at your phone screen asking, what does this mean? Passing the phone around your friends, trying to figure out what this person is trying to say to you, what they're hinting at you, this book will help you decipher it. The author Mimi Winsberg is a psychiatrist, so she is very adept at reading between the lines, which is what we need when it comes to speaking in thumbs. Ask a Queer Chick by Lindsay King Miller is a book specifically aimed at queer women, bi, lesbian, any way that you identify as queer, and it's this really funny and very helpful guide to love, life, and dating. And it takes you through right from the beginning. It might be that you haven't even come out yet, even come out to yourself yet. This book will help you get started on that journey and then see you the whole way through. So this book is broader than just being about dating. It's got loads of useful stuff in there, like how to cope with facing discrimination in the workplace, what to expect the first time you go to Pride. It's really broad, but it does have a lot about your love life in there as well. And I think it's great to have books like that that acknowledge that dating doesn't mean exactly the same thing as it traditionally always used to. So another really great book along those lines is Rewriting the Rules by Meg Barker. So this is a book that really explores all of the uncertainties and contradictions that we are taught about love and dating, especially now in a world where we are expanding our understanding of sex and gender, of monogamous relationships and looking beyond that. There's a lot that has changed, and so this book is all about just rewriting the rule book. It's Complicated, but it doesn't have to be, by Paul Carrick-Brunson, is another book that acknowledges the ever-changing dating scene and relationship scene that we are now living through. This book takes a really broad approach, looking at the whole online and offline dating world and all of the many complications that can crop up there, and also puts them in context. So what are the things from our childhood perhaps, or our dynamics with our families, that might be affecting our love lives? If you're into astrology, you could have a lot of fun with Linda Goodman's Love Signs. This is an updated edition of this best-selling book from the 70s, which is all about the different star signs and their compatibilities with each other, and also their own individual approaches to dating and relationships. So another one to really help you get to know yourself if astrology is something that you connect to, and might give you some tips for how compatible you are with the person you've got your eye on. Of course, as I said at the beginning, dating can come with its fair share of heartbreak, and so Breakup Bootcamp by Amy Chan is a really great book if that's what you're going through at the moment. It's a really positive, empowering guide to how to pick up the pieces of your broken heart and start on the healing process, because you will get there. One of the biggest, most important tools that you need if you're going through a breakup is self-love, so this book will help you build plenty of that. And I think that heartbreak is a really interesting topic to talk about anyway. It's such a universal experience. The majority of people have or will go through a big heartbreak at some point. And when you're going through it, it feels like the most devastating, crushing thing in the whole world. But it's not a form of grief that is given very much respect by the outside world. You're generally expected to keep functioning, keep showing up for work, and just getting through the day when you're going through something absolutely massive. So a really fantastic book that dives into this is Heartsick by Jessie Stevens. This is a non-fiction book, but that focuses on 3 particular stories, and so it's this really readable narrative non-fiction about 3 different stories of breakups and the different experiences of love and loss and what that can feel like. Heartbreak is massive. It's a really crushing form of grief, but I think it can help knowing that you're not the only one going through it. And an extremely important part of dating is being able to identify what is a healthy relationship and what is a controlling relationship, perhaps an emotionally abusive relationship. The book How to Leave Your Psychopath by Maddie Anholt is all about opening your eyes to whether or not your dating life is as healthy as you deserve it to be. The book is really judgment-free. It's just a really kind, compassionate guide to looking for these red flags, identifying how happy you truly are in your relationship, and potentially, if it's what you need, giving you the bravery to look after yourself and leave that relationship and build a new form of happiness for yourself. But let's finish back on a nice celebration of love. The book All About Love by Bell Hooks is a philosophy book about love in so many different forms, and it's this really passionate and very personal account of what love can mean. The book really challenges assumptions and comes up with this new model for learning to love, and it's really fascinating, nuanced analysis of what love is. So that's a selection of books that I think will really help you wherever you are in your dating life. I would love to know your suggestions for anything else like this. I always find them really interesting, so do put those in the comments below. I will link here to a playlist of all of our romance-themed videos. You can go and browse for some more books, maybe some fiction about love and dating if that's what you're in the mood for, and I'll see you next time.